All right, let's get this. Let's get this link out there so people can see it. I think I got to go to my channel. Oh, let me put this on. What's the name too? Let me put this on Instagram. See if anybody comes over. See if we could get anybody from my Instagram come over, chat with me for a little bit until my kids wake up. Until it's time to feed them. We're gonna talk about this Tory Lanez thing. Um, let me see. I wonder if anybody has joined. This is my first live, so if you're here and you see that I'm kind of fucking it up, see I'm kind of messing it up, that's why. I'm getting used to this thing for the very first time. But we're definitely going to get into this Tory Lanez thing, get into all this evidence that they say that they have, and find out what's really going on. That's not what I'm trying to do. How I get into this? No viewers so far. That's okay. All right, let's post this link. Hey, what's going on? I appreciate it. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me because this is my first time live streaming. So I have no idea what I'm doing. Just trying to get this link shared over to Instagram, and then I'm going to give it about 5 minutes before we start. All right, perfect. This is strange, but it's cool. I see why you do this all the time. Even though it is kind of like you talking to yourself a little bit, it is like you're talking to yourself just a little bit, but it's still pretty interesting. So have you taken a look at the website? Did you see what was going on as far as all the evidence that they said they had against Meg? How do I download this thing? Everything I know about this situation. Oh, dope. Yeah, so they had where we stand right now, they released some evidence saying that Tory might be innocent. You know, I think her name was it was some senator or some congresswoman. She released some evidence saying that basically that they were mishandling the evidence in the Tory Lanez case. So they launched this website basically laying everything out from when it happened to video recordings and testimony and everything, saying that it can't possibly point to Tory. But we're going to take a look. We're going to find out what's really going on here. And you guys can let me know what you think. All right, oh man. My daughter done woke up. I got to go give her a bottle. I hope it wasn't because of me. But I got this posted up on Instagram, so we're going to let people have a couple minutes to get in here. Let me see if she's up. If she's up. Based on what you know, do you think he's innocent or guilty? Let's drop an I in the chat for innocent. G's in the chat for guilty. Let me know. Welcome, whoever just joined. We're about to get started. We're about to go through this evidence. I was just talking about how this website, hopefully you guys can see it, 36hourslater.com. It just launched a day or two ago. And like it says the truth uncovered, suppressed evidence proves Tory Lanez is innocent. We'll find out exactly what they have. You guys can let me know what you think. It says truth becomes clear when the facts come to light. Key inconsistencies, unreliable testimony, and missing evidence prove Tory Lanez was convicted based on a flawed and incomplete narrative. Through Megan Pete's own words, police reports, and expert analysis, the facts suggest Tory Lanez did not fire the weapon and tried to stop the conflict. The case deserves to be reconsidered as evidence points to a different truth. This sounds like he's innocent so far. Just mess up set of circumstances surrounding the case. But that's how the cookie gets crumbled a lot of times. For a black man in America, not all the time, but a lot. To be honest with you, like we said, we're going to go through all of this stuff here. And there's quite a bit of stuff. But, all right, my baby's crying. Let me go get her a bottle. It's a lot of stuff here. And I don't understand how he got to the point where he's getting sentenced to 10 years if he is completely innocent. But that's where the controversy is coming from. So we got to go through this and get the full context. Give me 1 second. Let me go give my daughter her bottle, and we're going to continue. All right, I'm back. We're going to rock out for a little bit while she works on that bottle. But I don't understand how he got to the point where he's getting 10 years, getting stabbed up in prison 14 times, and he's completely innocent. You know, I'm a little skeptical of that. I know that the prison system doesn't work all the time. It doesn't work the correct way all the time. But I can't imagine how he got to that point and we are where we are. By the way, if you guys don't know, I might have to step away periodically. I've mentioned this on the channel a few times. I have kids. I have twins. And I just put my son down right before I started this stream. And then my daughter decided to wake up. So, you know, we got to make it work. But I appreciate you guys joining me. It's my first live stream. And I thought that with so much evidence going on, and because this was such a hot button topic, that we just go through it together instead of doing a video. So the facts are, Megan told the police and doctors she stepped on glass. I know you guys remember that. She said that she did it because she didn't want anybody to get hurt. She didn't want anybody to get shot. Video and officers confirm Megan stepped on a glass bottle, not hit by gunfire. I'm guessing that's going to be part of the evidence that they put here. They got video of that. Sean Kelly testified. 2 women fought in the street. One fired first. Tory was still in the car. I'm not sure who Sean Kelly is. He testified. Oh, Kelsey, that was her best friend. Tested positive for gunshot residue. Her DNA was never tested against the gun. Obviously, that's wild. That's some bullshit. Kelsey received free rent for a year after the shooting. Who paid and why? EJ said an object in a girl's luggage looked like a gun. Megan claims she spoke out in response to Tory, but the timeline proves she went public first. I do remember that. She was saying that she wanted to set the record straight, basically, because Tory was lying. Tory's DNA was not found on a magazine, only 0.01 on the gun, statistically irrelevant. I'm a little shaky about this part. We know that the police came. Did he try to like wipe the fingerprints off? Or what's going on there? Because, you know, his fingerprints could be missing for a reason, but we're going to get into it. 90% of DNA on the gun belonged to an unknown male victim, not Tory. So I know that they had the bodyguard in the car with them, somebody's bodyguard. There's 4 people, bodyguard, Meg, Tory, and Kelsey. So if it doesn't belong to Tory, then, you know, there's only one other male there. Tory's jail call apology was about the drama of sleeping with 2 friends, not a shooting. See, that's how this all started, from my understanding. They were at Kylie Jenner's party. He was having the time of his life during the pandemic. He was messing with Meg, messing with her friend. Meg found out, and then somebody ends up getting shot based on the fallout. Tory has repeatedly said, I would never do anything like this. Everybody says that. Everybody that does some sort of crime or whatever, they always say, yo, it wasn't me, or I didn't do that, or I would never do that. When your life is on the line, that's, of course, what you're going to say. But this is why they go to court. This is why you have evidence. No bullet fragments on x-ray, no nerve damage, fractures, or joint trauma in Meg's medical records. I believe, when I did a video on this a couple of days ago, a week ago, they were saying that he wasn't charged with malicious wounding. There was no charge of him actually shooting somebody. It was, he had the gun. He fired the gun, but he didn't shoot anybody, right? Her claim was she got shot in the foot or something like that. But based on what he actually was convicted of, the charges he was convicted on, there was no malicious wounding. Bullet fragments were lost, never presented the evidence. Yeah, that's crazy. I used to do this thing when I was in the military called a UPL, basically when we did urinalysis. I was one of the people that had to be in the chain of custody from the time that we collected the sample until it got shipped off. I'm sitting at the table. I give the person the cup. Somebody has to go with them to the bathroom, watch them use the bathroom, bring the cup back to me. I seal it with some tape. And from the time that I give them the cup till I get it back and I pass it off to the person that ships it, you have to have a chain of custody. It's a very, very huge deal, right? It's a huge deal in the military, just dealing with your analysis, dealing with the fact that people may be doing drugs or have something in their system. So I can't imagine that the police would lose evidence if it's there. And if they did, then where did it go? Somebody had it last. They have to have some sort of monitoring system on the storage locker, I would think. And somebody has to have the key or the combination, because if I had to take somebody's sample and store it somewhere, I had my own lock that I put on the locker. So I don't know. I don't understand how you could lose the bullet fragments. Prosecutors misused Tory's rap lyrics, tattoos, and uncharged allegations to sway the jury. I'm okay with using rap lyrics in trial, because a lot of times, at least now, a lot of times the rap lyrics are more like a diary, right? People are telling you things that they did. And we know he had that one song or the one video where he like shot a horse or cut a horse or something. He was holding up a horse leg. So we know that he could have possibly been on some bullshit. Like if there's evidence in those rap lyrics, I'm okay with using that. But if it's not, if you're just trying to railroad him based on something that's completely unrelated, then that's a whole other story. Kelsey's story changed multiple times. She admitted to lying under pressure. She got immunity. So I don't really think that anything that she says is you know, you got to look at everything she says with a grain of salt. She's kind of shaky. Meg's own timeline and injuries don't match the story of the shooting. I'm not entirely sure about that one either, because she's going to be under distress. So, you know, she may not remember things as clearly if she actually was shot. Right? That's what we're here to determine. But if she actually was shot, her memory might be a little shaky from being in trauma. You guys can drop an I based on what we're reading here. Drop an I in the chat if you think that he's innocent. Drop a G in the chat if you think he's guilty. I'm gonna step out one more second, grab this bottle, and take care of my shorty. I'll be right back. All right, we got two people that think Tory is innocent. Does anybody on the stream think Tory is guilty? I know it's a little shaky. Kelsey got immunity. People don't believe Meg. At first, she went on Gail's stream and said that she didn't sleep with Tory, then came back, and we found out that she did during the trial. I feel the case should have been a mistrial or found not guilty. Yeah, I can agree with that. At the very least, a mistrial. Because if the evidence isn't presented and you know, there's not DNA from him on the magazine. There's barely any DNA on the gun. I don't understand how he got convicted. But then again, I also can't see how he got convicted with all of these things that are stacking up that don't point to him. I know a lot of people feel like, oh, you shouldn't snitch. Let me tell you, if it's me, I'm snitching. If I didn't do it and I'm looking at facing years in jail for something I didn't do. Shorty said he told her dance bitch and shot at her feet, which was a lie. So they do have the video from that exact incident in here. I did skim through this yesterday. So they do have that evidence in here. So we're going to take a look at that as well. It says, bottom line, the facts don't add up. The case against Tory is built on shifting stories, missing evidence, and lies. Tory did not shoot Megan. We don't need to go through the table of contents. That's a lot of... All right, let's see.
I ain't get cut by no glass, but let me tell you why they saying that.
All right. Why are they saying that? Stepping into the truth, glass or gunshot?
Ma'am, do you think we're gonna go to jail?
What's that?
Do you think we're gonna go to jail?
I don't know. We're trying to figure it all out. As long as you guys cooperate with us and you guys tell us what happened, we'll go accordingly, okay? But if you guys are not telling us, if you guys are, then I don't think...
I really cannot go to jail.
Okay.
I cannot
She
have
don't
that
care
on
nothing
my
about
image.
that.
Okay. So how did that happen to you?
Glass.
Glass? Where?
Where we were coming from. But I'm not from here, so I...
Okay.
That's the only place you got shot at? That's the only place you got shot?
I didn't get shot.
Oh, you did it?
No, ma'am. I mean, no, sir.
Yeah.
That's interesting. They got Gracie's Corner. My kids be watching that on my YouTube. That's interesting. She said that she told the police she didn't get shot because she didn't want anybody else to get hurt. But those are firemen. Those are not police officers. So who is it that she was scared of shooting them or something else happening? Remember, this happened right after George Floyd. So she said that she didn't want another black man to get shot, any black people to be hurt. So she fabricated the story about stepping on glass. That's what she said. So she wasn't shot.
Any evidence of any shooting or anything? That's how we got dispatched.
Well, we have the gun here, and then we have other units. They're searching the house where it happened. So that's all we have so far.
So nothing happened in the vehicle.
No, we don't have any casings. No.
Okay, from what you've been told. Okay.
We got blood on
And
the
there's some
suitcase.
cash over, looks like.
Was the person who got caught with the other people here that you have in handcuffs? Were they all together?
They were all together.
Yes, they were all in the same car.
Okay. And then, do we know how she got cut? Or who cut her?
I believe when she stepped down, there's a glass
She
right
dropped
here.
a glass bottle, and then I think she stepped on it and cut herself.
Okay.
And getting out of the vehicle.
Okay. So her friends didn't cut her then.
Right.
Oh, well.
Okay, so real quick, I want to point this out.
People here that you have in
She said that we know that she said that she was shot, and it looks like there's some blood on the suitcase here, right? What doesn't make sense to me is, okay, she got shot. Did she get back in the car with him? I don't know that makes sense. You get shot, you say that you're terrified of this guy, and you get back in the car, and that's how you get blood on the suitcase? That doesn't seem that I don't follow the logic there. Let's see. You can hear it on one of the videos. There were 3 shots, and later 2 shots were from Tory, allegedly getting the gun from Kelsey. I did see that, and that's in here, I believe. I hope that's in here. So we'll take a look at that as well. This is some sketchy industry stuff. This has some sketchy industry stuff written all over it. Yeah, anything with Jay-Z, to be honest with you, as much as I like his music, the dude could play chess. He's a billionaire. I believe that they can make things move and shake if they want to. John said, I can't believe we're still on this. I was in college when this first started. I already graduated. Congratulations, John. That's dope, man. What did you go to school for? Let me know. But let me know what you guys think. They have some blood on the suitcase. Did she get shot, jump back in the car, and then, you know, ride down the street until the police pulled them over?
It's right down in Florida. The marker.
Okay, we got some blood here.
Rear passenger, step out of the vehicle. Let me see your hands. Show us your hands. Come out with your hands up. Okay? Come out, people passenger, with your hands up. Hands up. Alright, move back to the sound of my voice. Keep your hands up. Move back to the sound of my
I want to rewind this for just a second. I want to know, they said that she stepped on glass in the last video, and I just heard a crunch. So
Come out, people passenger, with your hands up. Hands up. Alright, move back to the sound of my voice. Keep your hands up. Move back to the sound of my voice. Move back. Keep going. Keep going. Hey, stop, stop. Move to the left. Keep moving.
It's right down in Florida. The marker.
broken glass that they say fell out of the car. So the first thing she said was that she stepped on the glass. That's what the narrative was when all of this first started happening. So we see where the glass came from. She dropped the bottle after being told to get out the car. John, that's good. I went for philosophy and later psychology. Didn't finish either. But point is, psychologists is very, very much needed in these times. Absolutely. Congratulations, man. That's dope. That's dope. Have you been able to find something in your field, or what are you doing right now?
She cut herself when she stepped out.
I'm guessing that's the police. What do you say?
She cut herself when she stepped out.
She cut herself when she stepped out, which we just saw, right? She dropped the bottle out of the car.
Move back to the sound of my voice.
Move back.
Back.
Oh,
Keep
she
going.
cut herself.
Keep going.
Damn.
Keep going.
They got them laid out like starfish on this side. Y'all see that? So I'm guessing this is Tory. This must be the bodyguard, but where's Kelsey? This is Meg over here. We see her through the police officer's window. This doesn't look like a residential neighborhood. I know that one of the witnesses, or is this an apartment? I know one of the witnesses said that he heard them outside of his house shooting, but this kind of looks like, downtown where some businesses are. Unless this building back here is a residence. I'm a mental health technician right now, but I also help in the department for the Air Force. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. We always need our civilian counterparts. I don't know if you heard me say, but I was in the military for 12 years. I got out in 2022. So I absolutely appreciate our civilian counterparts that work with us. I can't have this on my image. We heard Meg say that in one of the first videos. When they were being pulled out, she was kind of drunk, sitting on the curb, and she told the officer she didn't want to have, going to jail on her record.
I get to the motherfucking hospital, the police bitch being so rude to me. Well, what's going on? Like, da-da-da-da, you're being detained, da-da-da. Ma'am, I'm being detained, I'm leaking. But I'm still not saying what happened. Shit crazy.
You see, if I got shot, I'm not, by the time, okay, she said she didn't want to tell the police when she was outside. She gets to the hospital, everybody's safe. They're not going to shoot him in the hospital. They've already disarmed whoever had the gun. Why is she still not saying what happened? I don't know. It's suspicious to me. Like I said, I still don't understand how Tory ended up getting sentenced to 10 years if there's no evidence. But I don't understand how she could tell the police that repeatedly on multiple occasions that she wasn't shot and then just come back and change the narrative. Oh, department is the delayed entry program. I'm technically an airman now. I haven't done. Okay. So did you join? No, you didn't join out of high school because you just said you graduated. Meg wanted to put a restraining order on Tory then at the same time decided to promote music. Yeah, she wants to be able to talk about what it is that's going on her side, but she doesn't want him to say his piece. That's not the way justice works. You can't just put a gag order on somebody because you don't like what they have to say. Maybe she was blacked out drunk and repeated what she heard. Yeah, that's true as well. Maybe she heard somebody else say, yo, it's Tory. Because she was drunk as hell sitting on the side of that, on the curb. Talking about, I can't go to jail. The police don't care. If you're in the wrong, your ass is going to jail.
And so what happened with you were just one ball stepping on glass.
I stepped on glass. She had another cut in her right foot.
So you were already hurt when you got into the and then at that point, your friends were running down from the hospital.
That's the second time, at least, that she said that she was cut and not shot. Police calmly spoke with Megan, who said she stepped on glass and mentioned she had already had cuts on her right foot from stepping on glass days before. Not to be in women's business or nothing, but I remember Nicki Minaj saying that Meg was basically a drunk. She had a lot of problems with alcohol. So we see that, you know, she's got a proclivity for drinking. I had another cut on my right foot. I just stepped on glass the other day. All right. She tried to keep it off the internet.
So, since y'all hoes so worried about it, yes, this nigga Tory shot me. You shot me. And you got your publicists and your people going to these blogs lying and shit. Stop lying. Why lie? I don't understand. I tried to keep the situation off the internet.
And they tried that hard because you was on the internet talking about it. All right. They said that she spoke first. That was one of the claims that they made earlier. Meg said that Tory spoke first. And this website is claiming that she spoke first in this incident where she said she was trying to keep it off the internet. The timeline contradicts Meg's claims. Yeah, it's BMT. It's basically the Air Force equivalent of basic training. I see y'all down in the chat talking about BMT. So let's look at these statements. Nothing negative as this. That's why I didn't want to say nothing in the first place. This would have never came out if Tory had never went to the internet telling everybody his side of the story. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me 1 second. I was working earlier, so I still have my work stuff up on my desk. Let me move this out the way. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that, so I'm going to scroll in just a little bit. Uh-oh. There we go. All right. It says, terrible because I didn't want to say anything in the first place. So not only did I not say anything, but now you want to get ahead of it and make yourself look like you were some type of victim. Okay, this looks like the court transcripts. The prosecutor says, why did you not want to say anything in the first place? Then there's an objection, asked and answered. The court says, I think we covered that. What was your plan when this first happened as far as what you would say? I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want it to go anywhere. I'm embarrassed. That's not the way that it works. If somebody shoots you or there's a shooting, it's going to go someplace, whether you like it or not. I know you told the police that you stepped on broken glass. About 4 days later, did you come forward to the police and tell who shot you? Yes. And who was that? And was that to a detective? Yes. In those 4 days, what brought about the change of heart? I had a change of heart because I saw online that he tried to start getting ahead of the story and put in a bunch of narratives about what happened. And they asked how that made her feel. So this is Megan's post. They got a timeline. They said on the 15th of July, back in 2020, like we said, this was right after George Floyd. That's when she decided to make an Instagram post, basically detailing the narrative, what they said right here in Exhibit 6, or the 6th piece of content right here. Then she names him the next day, goes live on his birthday. Okay, I'm guessing this video is from this time. So she made the Instagram post, went live on his birthday, and then about a month later is when she finally comes out and says it. He says, "To my fans, I'm sorry for my silence, but respectfully, I got time today." And I guess he went live a month later. So this happened in September. And then in October. This is a long time for between the first time that she announced being shot, and we already know that Tory Lanez is with her, and the time that he actually said something. That's a long time to just be sitting silent with that type of claim on you. In her own words, "I never put my hands on anybody, but evidence says otherwise." This is the interview with Gayle King. I know you guys remember that. This is when she said that she did not sleep with Tory. This is when she said she did not sleep with Tory, which we came to find out was a lie, which, you know, she's trying to keep her life private. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's lying about everything else. But where there's smoke, there's fire, right? So I say on the channel a lot, once is a mistake and twice is a pattern. So after you lie about sleeping with him or what your guys' relationship is, everybody is looking to see what else you say and then how that's going to change in the future. But let's check this out.
I never put my hands on anybody. I never raised my voice too loud. Like, this was one of them times where it was like, it shouldn't have got this crazy.
It shouldn't have escalated to the way that it did.
So I get out the car and it's like everything happens so fast. Yes. And all I hear is this man screaming. He said, "Dance," and he started shooting. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, he shot a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. I really hate those crocodile tears. I'm not going to lie to you. I really, really hate sitting up here watching her do them damn crocodile tears. She didn't put her hands on anybody, yet her and Kelsey were tussling on the ground. I don't think that I saw that video of them fighting, but what we do see is lacerations all on Kelsey's leg. Let me zoom in for you guys one more time so y'all can see that. Let me see. Y'all see her leg? She is tore up. And then they have him. I guess this is once he got down to the precinct, they started taking photos of him. Who a snitch? I never went to the police with no names. I thought a bitch got her chain snatched. Caught a loss, had something to say. But she was trying to keep it off the internet. Those bruises were from them fighting. The neighbor definitely said that he saw two women get into it. He said that he saw two women get into it. He thinks he saw a woman shooting. He saw the short black guy in the back of the car. Like we said, there's a lot of evidence that's being presented that's saying that it wasn't Tory. But he's the one in jail. And I said it at the beginning of the stream, and I'm going to say it again. If you're not guilty, then you got to point the finger at the person who it is that is guilty. Because as we see, if you're willing to take the blame for it, they're not going to come up and say, "Yo, let me go to jail in your place." But you being a guy, you being a man, you think that you're protecting the women all the way till you get to trial. And now you're in jail getting stabbed 14 times, about to lose your life. If you did it, if you actually did do it, then you're in jail where you're supposed to be. But if you didn't do it, then you're trading their freedom for your freedom, your ability and your opportunity to be at home with your family. All I'm saying is it wouldn't be me. If I got in a situation like this, I'm going home to my family. In her own words, there was a witness, and his name is Sean Kelly. Okay, they mentioned Sean Kelly in the beginning of the list of evidence, and I believe he was the neighbor, so he has nothing to do with anything going on here. He's not the bodyguard. Obviously, he's not Meg. Like, he's not associated with anybody in this case. Just the eyewitness that is a bystander telling his story to the police. I know we have some new people down in the on the live stream. If you didn't get the opportunity, let me know if you think Tory is guilty or innocent. Let me know if you took a look at the website already.
The people in the neighborhood, there's a witness. When the police came, because the neighbors called the police.
There was a witness in the neighborhood. It says, eyewitness Sean Kelly told police and later testified under oath that he saw two women fighting. You know, this is another thing. If the two women were fighting, was Kelly only getting her ass whooped by Meg? Where are the bruises on Meg? Who was, like, was it one-sided? Were they fighting back? Meg doesn't have a black eye. She doesn't have bruises. And from everything that we have learned so far, the incident was between Tory and Meg, right? So how did Kelsey get these bruises? How did they explain that? You know, she got immunity, so she has the right to plead the fifth and not say certain things at the trial. But if there was no altercation between the women and there was no altercation between Tory and Kelsey, how did she end up bruised? Could that be a motive for Kelsey shooting Meg? I don't know, man. It says, either way, the kid needs some therapy. I want to see where YNW Melly's situation is going to end. Hopefully he ain't do what they said he did. Hopefully it was a decent reason. And if he did, hopefully it was a decent reason. YNW Melly has been in prison for a long time, years, without a trial. What did you see next? They were fighting. They had started fighting. Two girls? Yes. And when you say two girls were fighting, could you describe to the jury what you observed? What were they doing and what were they fighting about? Not about, but how were they fighting? They were pulling their hair and hitting each other, and it was violent. It was quite violent. This is initially when you still only saw the two girls, correct? Yes. So that's the eyewitness saying that he only saw two girls fighting. I guess they were out in the street. Obviously, they couldn't have still all the way been in the car if he got this good a view of what was going on. And what happened at this point? Was the fight continuing? Was it stopped? They were fighting for a while because I told my son to come into my room and I asked him to get into my bed. And then they were still fighting. They were all bent over, sort of wrapped in each other. Okay, so that's where you got the them tumbling on the ground. Okay, I think they have that. I saw that you said, I'm trying to understand where Dance Bitch came from. So I heard the video a few days ago, and that's not what I heard. I didn't hear Dance Bitch. We're going to get to it a little later because they do have that footage. But let's see what the neighbor had to say.
Wait. No, it didn't. No?
They shot out of the car?
The windows were open, that's why it sounded like either way. Yeah, I didn't
No,
really
they
see
were
it.
on my side. The girl opened the door, there was two girls fighting, and then they shot. And
Okay.
she got out of the car and crawled over here.
She got out the car. It was two girls fighting. Let me get the end of that
On
one
my
more time.
side, the girl opened the door, there was two girls fighting, and then they shot. And
Okay.
she got out of the car and crawled over here.
All right, let's see what else Mr. Kelly had to say. He testified two women were fighting and one of them fired the first few shots while Tory was still in the car. He said Tory got out afterward and tried to take the gun. Okay, did you state, sir, that the shorter gentleman didn't come out of the car until the initial shots, the fireworks had started? Yeah, excuse me? Yes. So when the initial shots or fireworks had started, isn't it true that you stated my client was still in the car? I believe so. So the shorter gentleman was still in the car. He's confirming that Tory was, he wasn't in the car. What Meg is alleging is Tory got out of the car, not out of the car. He got from the back driver's side to the passenger side, either in the front or the back, came over and was shooting at her. That's what Meg is saying. It doesn't seem plausible to me. And it doesn't seem plausible to Mr. Kelly either. And what did you state initially that, and did you state that initially you saw the two girls fighting? Yes, he did, which we confirmed. And we saw the bruises from Kelsey's leg. Did you say that after you saw the two girls fighting, you saw one of the girls shoot? I believe so. Like, it's dark. It's dark, but in a moment like that, you're definitely taking in everything that you're seeing. So if he's saying that he saw two girls, even though it's dark, even though he doesn't know all of the people involved, you got to take his word for it. Like, he's protecting his son, scoping out the situation. So if he saw two girls fighting, I'm going to take his word for that. He's the only eyewitness that's not directly involved in the case. Thereafter, did you say that the shorter guy got involved at that point, trying to take away the gun? Okay. They said objection. The court said overruled. Is that what you said? Yeah. So the only eyewitness that they have that's not involved in the case said he didn't see Tory do it. So what happened to, why are they not taking his statement into account based on all the evidence that doesn't point to Tory, based on the eyewitness testimony? In a separate interview, Sean Kelly said he saw Kelsey and Meg fighting violently, with Kelsey rear passenger side. Like we said, Tory was on the rear driver's side, but Kelsey was attacking Meg, who was in the front passenger. She must have been whooping her ass too, if she was behind her. The driver, Jaquan, tried to intervene. He stated that a woman fired the gun while Tory, described as the shorter black guy, was still in the backseat of the SUV. There's no way Tory fired that gun 5 times. One of the earlier videos that we saw when Meg got out of the car, she was walking on the glass when the police were there. We still see that Tory gets out and he's on the passenger side. So if she's saying he crawled over to the driver's side and that's where he was still on the driver's side, on that back driver's side, and was laid out on the left side of the car. So if she's saying that he got to the front seat or the back seat of the passenger side and was firing a gun, how do we end up with you back in the car, getting out of the car, and him on that side? That doesn't make sense. None of this stuff is making sense.
The doors of the Escalade open and the girl come out and pull open the passenger door and started screaming and yelling at somebody in the car.
So the girl who came out of the passenger, you're talking about the front passenger?
No, the rear.
The rear passenger.
Kelsey?
So the girl comes out of the rear passenger and she goes to the front passenger?
Yes.
And she opens up the car door?
Yes.
And then what happens?
They're screaming and shouting at each other and they start fighting.
The two girls?
Yeah, I can see one feet coming out trying to kick her and the other one's fighting and then the passenger gets out.
So the girl who does the punching and the kicking is the girl that comes out of the back passenger?
The front. Can we stop there? Because I don't want to. I'll tell you, and then I want to go. My son's on his own.
Yeah, I understand. And it's loud with the cars.
And I don't really want to. So basically, the car stopped. The girl in the back got out, started screaming and shouting, ripped the door, pulled the door open, but pulled it so sort of viciously. That's why I presume the driver got out. She starts screaming. She starts hitting the girl. The girl then had to sight her feet come out. She starts to kick the girl away. My passenger. They get out. They start fighting here. They start fighting. The driver comes round and tries to sort of break it up. It gets a bit more violent. And between them, the girl then climbs back into the front driver passenger seat.
Where's the shorter black guy?
He's in the back.
He's in the back of the car? Okay.
Okay, that was the witness, Sean Kelly. Hey, what's going on? I see you down in the chat. I appreciate you joining the live. This is my first one. So, I thought that there was a lot of evidence here. And I didn't want to make just a video about it. I wanted to do something to connect with the people on the channel. But I appreciate you joining. So that was the witness, Sean Kelly. He was saying that, once again, the two women were fighting. It looks like Kelsey was in the backseat whooping on Meg. Meg gets out. The driver gets out. I guess that's the bodyguard, and runs over to break up the fight. And he said that Tory was in the backseat the whole time. That's the eyewitness testimony. But if you see a bunch of people that you're in a car with, that you're supposed to be friends with, get into it, I would assume that you're going to get out of the car as well. But the eyewitness said that at the point that he saw it, Tory stayed in the car the entire time. But let's check out this other statement.
Then the gun, then the girl shoots it. So the driver's door's open.
You're seeing the girl shoot?
Can I help you? I think, is it this house?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Okay.
So you see the girl doing the shooting?
I see what appears to be the girl standing here and shooting into the car. That's what it looked like to me. But it was dark, and I'm above, so... But then the guy gets out again from the back.
See, this is super important testimony. He has to get the details right. It sounds like he did in the when they got to the trial, but this is what makes it a little shaky. He's very certain that he saw two girls fighting at first, and then he's like, I kind of think it was a girl shooting, but I can't tell. He does clean it up when it matters with the testimony, but as we see, Tory is still in jail, so it doesn't really matter that much what he had to say, unfortunately. Oh man, this is a lot. Together, the statements of Smith, James, and Kelly paint a consistent picture. Two women fighting, a woman fired a gun, Tory tried to de-escalate. Okay, this says sworn affidavit from Jaquan Smith, that's Tory's bodyguard. Sworn affidavit from Bradley James, that's Kelsey's trial bodyguard. Let's see if we could get into these, see what's going on here. Uh-oh, we done lost our way. Oh, that's still tiny. I can't read that. Unfortunately, I can't read that, y'all. I got to get up on the screen. Even though I got laser eye surgery, I can't read that tiny little text up there. Let's find out where we were. Okay. But it says that they had testimony from 3 different people that confirmed that it was a woman shooting. EJ's testimony, EJ King, Meg's former stylist, said an object in her purse looked like a handgun. EJ said he may have seen things that looked like a gun in the bag or purse, but he never asked questions or confirmed what they were. This adds to the reasonable doubt. If Kelsey had the gun, there was a greater possibility Tory cannot be the shooter. But it says that it's in Meg's bag, right? So where was her bag during all of this altercation? Or whose gun was it? We never confirmed whose gun it was in the first place. So even if Meg did have a gun, we never, they never identified who this gun belonged to. You can't tell us for sure it's a handgun, but you see something like a handgun. Is that fair to say? And then he says, yeah. Sir, when you were upstairs a few minutes ago, do you recall stating that you've seen something that looks like a handgun? He says, yeah, it looks like it, but like I said, if I picked it up, no, but something like it. So it's in the bag, he can't confirm. Well, let me ask you this. You may not have picked that up, and you're telling us that you don't know if it's actually a working firearm. I don't know who's walking around with a firearm that doesn't work. Especially, even if you have bodyguards, if you're carrying, why would you be carrying something fake? Unless you're ASAP Rocky. If you guys got that reference. If you didn't get the reference, ASAP Rocky, when he was on trial, said that he was carrying around a starter pistol, the one that they use for races and stuff. And he ended up getting off on his case. Have you seen anything in any of the bags, or any time you've been out without security? Have you seen anything that resembles something that looked like a weapon, a firearm? He says, yeah. What do you mean possibly? Is that a yes or a no? Because you got to know definitively. You can't say what it might have been. They need to know, is it a gun? Who does it belong to? Yes, possibly. I don't go through them to check for a firearm, but I may have seen stuff in bags that I packed. But like I said, see, this is some bullshit here. This is the stylist right here. He's saying that he packed the bags, or he may have seen something. If you're going through a bag, if you're packing a bag, you're going to know especially if you had to move stuff around to fit other stuff in there, you know if it was a firearm in there. You may not want to say it because it's painting a bad light on the person that you work for or that you did work for, and you want to continue to get business, but you know if it was a firearm in there. You never asked questions. You never asked what it was. Is it a firearm? He says no. So this is Kelsey Harris. Her statement, it says, inconsistent and unreliable. She initially told prosecutors she witnessed the shooting, but later recanted on the stand, admitting she lied under pressure. Her Fifth Amendment plea and contradictions compelled the prosecution to introduce her prior statements in full, highlighting their unreliability. Her credibility was compromised, raising reasonable doubt. Kelsey got immunity, so anything that she said was not going to come back on her. Which begs the question, if she did see the shooter, if she was the shooter, why didn't she say that? If she already had immunity, why didn't she say it was me? Why didn't she admit it? I can't tell you the time, but yes, July 12th, 2020. And I believe the George Floyd incident happened in June, May or June. Actually, yeah, May, because it was just the 5th anniversary. And for those that don't know why I referenced that, Meg, after the shooting, said that she didn't say anything about the shooting because of the George Floyd incident, and she didn't want to see anybody else get hurt. So it says, you saw what happened during that shooting, didn't you? I mean, again, no. The way I was positioned, honestly, no. All right, this is 15 here. Okay, in September when you interviewed with us, it was not a blur, correct? Again, I said things to protect myself that night. Okay, well, you said that day. You said it's a blur. You're trying to protect yourself, but you're telling us you didn't see anything or didn't hear anything. It's a blur. Is that right? I mean, I didn't see anything. So let me tell you something. If somebody starts shooting in your vicinity, you're going to see something. You're going to hear something. Especially if they're all in a car. Supposedly some people got out, but they're not far away enough that you're not going to be on alert if somebody starts letting off some shots. So we know that she's lying. They got to press her harder about what's going on here. Because if Tory is innocent, he's sitting in jail, getting stabbed, giving up 10 years of his life. That's time he's away from his kids, time he's away from his wife. Like I said, if it was me, I'm telling who did it. I'm pointing fingers, elbows, and everything else. Again, when I spoke with you, you said a few different things. Did you say Tory, or excuse me, did you shoot Tory, or excuse me, did you shoot Megan? She definitively says no. So she's asked, who shot Megan? Again, when I was getting out of the car, all I heard was shots. I didn't actually see. If somebody's shooting around you, you're turning around, you're looking to see where those shots are coming from, what's going on. Even the eyewitness that had nothing to do with the situation said he took account of what was going on outside. He couldn't say definitively who was shooting, right? He said it might have been a man, might have been a woman. But even the eyewitness that wasn't part of it took some time to look around and see what was going on. This last one from her testimony, or it's not the last one. She got a couple more. This one says, did you tell us that when you looked at maybe the second or third gunshot, that's when you see Tory and he's in the front seat and he must have jumped over into the front seat and he's leaning over the door, over the window. Do you remember telling us that? Again, our interview was not 100% truthful. So where is the part where they press her on what the truth actually is? Where is that part? Because if you're saying that you lied about, which part are you lying about? Are you lying about seeing him? Are you lying about, hearing shots? Are you lying about the point that you looked up? I know that they tried to put this website together to exonerate Tory or get a pardon or something. Excuse me, let me get some water. They tried to put this together to exonerate Tory, but this is not a good look. Where is the part that's after this where they press her about what actually happened? Okay, she testified under oath that there was no bribery. That was one of the claims that they made initially, saying that she might have been bribed. No financial records or corroborated evidence support the bribery claim. there's been a lot of talk about bribery, and I want to say before I get into the facts, I want to talk about that. Has my client paid you anything? No. There's talk about hush money that Megan's people have put out there. Has my client paid any money to you? Okay, so I guess this is Megan's attorney. No, and I would actually like to make that very clear because I've seen some things earlier from her attorney, and I'm tired of that a lot. So whose attorney is this? Is this Tory's attorney? It says, Mrs. Harris, I never asked them to. Deputy District Attorney got it. Buy her a spot. They did all of this voluntarily for a year, which was not normal. After the incident, Kelsey, I keep calling her Kelly. Kelsey received rent for an entire year after not speaking with Megan since the incident, covered by Megan's team. The term they has been used repeatedly. Why? Where's the evidence of that? Where's the paper trail? If they weren't friends after that, then what was Megan paying for? Why was she doing that? Because reportedly, they weren't supposed to be friends after this entire incident, which part of the fallout is that Tory was sleeping with both of them. That boy fucked that up. I ain't gonna lie to you. He definitely fucked that up. In her own words, he's standing up over the window shooting. Let me know what you guys think, man. We've got a lot of stuff that's been said here. And none of this is really pointing to Tory. The website is supposed to be exonerating him, right? Let me know what you guys think of the evidence so far. Let's take a look at this.
In the car, shooting from the car, Megan?
He is standing up over the window, shooting.
Standing up over the window shooting. Like, this is not a video game. All right, he's standing up over the window shooting, but he never touched the gun. Okay, so in the very beginning, they said there's no fingerprints on the weapon. None of, at least from Tory. There was no fingerprints from Tory on the magazine. There was no fingerprints from Tory on the weapon. There was nothing that's pointing to him actually being the shooter. But he was convicted on a bunch of different charges that related to shooting, that were related to him handling the weapon, but nothing as far as malicious wounding. All right, it says DNA proves Tory Lanez' innocence. A forensic expert testified that 90% of the DNA on the weapon belonged to an unknown male who is not Tory Lanez. His DNA was not found on the magazine. Software used for analysis had documented instability and potential for false matches. So they're saying there's no way that they could determine that it was Tory. An expert testified that if Tory had fired the gun 5 times, his DNA would be expected on the weapon, but it wasn't found. Female DNA was found on the gun. Kelsey tested positive for gunshot residue. That's GSR. She tested positive for gunshot residue, but her DNA was never tested against the gun. Kelsey, who was making false statements, Kelsey, who has DNA on a gun, Kelsey, whose DNA is not tested. I don't know, man. All roads are pointing to a specific person. It says a mixture of donors in the sample 5111 of the gun was estimated by the SRT mixed software 90%, 5%, 3%, and 2% donors. The major donor, 90% of DNA, could reliably be reduced from a mixture of DNA, and it did not match the defendant. It did not match Tory. From the donors of 5, 3, and 2% of DNA in the mixture, no DNA profile could be deduced. So they don't know who that person that's handling the firearm is, but they know definitively that it's not Tory. The latter indicates that the data of these donors is not reliable for comparison with possible donors. Okay, now this is more testimony. Let's get back to the same thing with the magazine. You talked about the handgun. Whose testimony is this? Can you tell us explain what happened? Explain what the LAPD concluded after testing of the swab as to the magazine from this case. When they tested the magazine, they saw that they had, again, at least 4 people. And so coincidence, maybe not. They aren't together, the magazine and the gun. There may be some similarities there. I don't understand what they're saying here. But we do know that Tory's DNA is not on it. And looking at that, they absolutely excluded Daystar Peterson, Tory Lanez. He is not one of those 4 people. 90%, 5%, 3%, and 2%. One thing that we do know is it's not him. And so when they take a look at that, there's a clear exclusion. Can't be there. What is this name? That dude got a hell of a name. I can't say that one. All right, let's take a little break. It seems that it's only us. It's me, myself, and I in the chat right now. So we're going to take a little break. Let's see how much further we got. If you were here, I definitely appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that joined. We still got a little bit left. Oh, okay. It says no concurrent viewers. I don't know what's going on there. I thought everybody dipped on me. All right. We still got my brother in here, so let's keep going. It says, sir, counsel keeps saying about the gun, touching the gun. You can't exclude Mr. Peterson. Sir, is there any evidence as you sit there that people can say that Mr. Peterson touched that gun? Yes or no? And the person, I'm guessing this is the expert, definitively says no. And is that the same opinion that the LAPD criminalist had? And he says that's correct. He agrees with LAPD. There's nobody that is saying that Tory had the gun besides the people that were there. But the evidence doesn't say that he had it, right? They said it's fingerprints there. There's DNA there, but definitively none of it can be pointed at Tory. Sir, again, I'm going to ask you this hypothetical, and I'm going to leave out the fact that it's my gun. If I pick up a gun from inside of a vehicle, I take that gun, I get out of the car, I shoot 5 times, I put that gun back in the car, would you expect my DNA to be on that gun? And the guy says, yes, I would. He says, is my client, Mr. Peterson's DNA on the gun? They say, not that I can tell. No. Okay, not that I can tell. So they do have 5%, 3%, and 2% of DNA. And they do definitively say that, and they say that they can't determine whose DNA that is, but they say that it's not Tory's. Who else's DNA was tested against, who else's DNA was tested against the samples that they got off the gun? The people that put together this website that are trying to get Tory off are saying that nobody else's DNA was tested. So we know that one male DNA was found on a handgun, at least one. Do we know if there's the possibility of female DNA being on that gun? They say yes. We also see an indication that there is DNA from a female there based on the balance of X and Y chromosomes that are present. They definitively say it's not Tory, it is a female. There's 2 females in this situation. Who does the gun belong to? EJ, Megan Stylist, says, hey, there has been what looks to be a handgun in her bags before. That's not to say that the one that was fired is hers, but we can't exclude it either. How did they test? How did they come to the determination that it's Tory with no evidence, no DNA evidence, only testimony from a woman that arguably hates him, right? He's blowing her back out. He's blowing her friends back out. And that's the person that says that it's him that shot her. They have eyewitness testimony that says it's not him. They have DNA evidence that says it's not him that handled the gun. But the charges that he got are saying that he handled the gun. It seems like this dude is being railroaded. Tory Lanez's defense didn't expect, Tory Lanez's defense expert didn't receive the STR mix, worksheet until the last minute due to a Brady violation. The worksheet, only turned over at the defense's request, showed Tory Lanez was just 0.01% contributor to the gun and excluded on the magazine, completely excluded on the magazine, limiting the defense's ability to properly challenge the DNA evidence. I'm not sure what a Brady violation is. I guess I'm gonna have to look that up. I apologize. I don't have that information. Sorry to come to you guys with half the information, but they say that it's only 0.01% on the actual handgun. It's negligible. The prosecution used up all the DNA sample so it could not be retested. They used up all the DNA sample so that it can't be retested to determine if it's Kelsey, if it's Meg, if it's the bodyguard, if it's somebody else. But we know that it's female, so all roads are pointing to Kelsey, who has immunity, who's known to lie based on her own statements. She said, again, our interview was not 100% truthful. We know that she's going to lie. We know she's going to save her own ass. So, Tory, you got to speak up, man, because if it's not you, but somebody did it, then it is you. If it's not you and you didn't say it, but somebody did it, it's you. As evidenced by the fact that you are going to spend a decade in prison unless you can get this overturned.
Why would I lie? You want me to be a bad person so bad, and y'all motherfuckers want to believe the lie before you believe the truth?
No, we want to believe the evidence. No, I don't know what the truth is, right? But the evidence, at least as it's laid out here, is pointing to the fact that it wasn't Tory. In her own words, why would I lie? Why alter the text? So they're claiming that this is altered text between what was initially sent by Kelly, the text message from Kelly initially, and then some altered text from Meg's team that Meg's team altered. And you guys talk to me down in the chat, man. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys think. Let's have a discussion about the stuff that we're learning, man. No DNA on the weapon. You got the best friend that's lying. The best friend who possibly did handle the gun. The stylist that said that he may have seen a gun in the bag, but he can't confirm definitively, even though he packs some of the bags. And we're going to look at these text messages as well. It says, this is stuff from earlier that day. This is stuff from the previous date. But as it relates to July 12th, when the shooting happened, it says, help, Tory shot Meg, 911. But the altered text, at least what they're claiming is altered text from Meg's team, says, help, Tory shot Meg and handled me, 911. I'm not sure what the handle me part is. What does that mean? He handled you. Could it be that this is not altered text, that a text message was sent and it was deleted? That could absolutely be the case, right? Missing phrases raise questions about whether evidence was presented to the jury and now to the public and was selectively edited or incomplete. This is more of her saying that her interview with Gayle King. So I think we're getting to the part that was dropped in the chat asking, did he say dance bitch? It looks like we're at that part now.
And all I hear is this man screaming. He said dance.
She says she heard him scream dance bitch. She's absolutely sure about that. So before we watch the video, let's read this testimony. It says, you could hear their conversation, correct? Yes, quite clearly. Excuse me? Quite clearly. But at any point, did you hear anybody say dance bitch? And the person says no. This is Sean Kelly, the witness that saw everything happen, right? This guy said he saw two women fighting. He saw the person, the driver, supposedly a bodyguard, get out of the car and grab the women and try to break it up. He said he saw Tory get out of the car, but the women were fighting. He said he saw a woman shoot. This is the only non-party person, the only eyewitness that has nothing to do with any of the commotion, right? That said that he did not hear anybody say dance bitch, but he did clearly hear conversations. But it doesn't have any evidence here showing what he did hear the people say. So that's something of note. But let's watch this video and find out what they actually said. All right, I didn't catch that. Let me see if I can hear a little closer. Okay, it's right here. Let me know if you guys heard it. Let me know what you guys heard. I'm not going to lie to you. I listened to it twice. I listened to it yesterday. I've seen this clip before. What I heard was "Stop it, bitch." I heard "Stop it, bitch," not "Dance, bitch." But, you know, it's the heat of the moment. If you are getting shot at, regardless of if it was Tory or somebody else, I think you're paying more attention to the fact that you say that you're hit or you're in a lot of commotion. That's just me, though. Only Meg has claimed this, unsupported by any audio or evidence or witness evidence. The only witness that they have is Mr. Kelly. He's saying that he didn't hear that, but he did hear arguing, and he could hear it very clearly. In her own words, I thought the doctors were the police. This just goes back to the fact that they said she's a drunk. That's not a good look. That is not a good look. It's not a good look at all. If you're so drunk out of your mind that you think the doctors are the police, then you probably got to get that together.
I get to the hospital. The doctors do X-rays on my feet. Oh, ma'am, you got bullets in your feet. You got bullet fragments in your other foot. I'm thinking the doctors is the police, so I'm still trying not to tell them like, nah, I didn't know I got. You know what I'm saying? I'm scared. Like I've never been shot before. I don't have to lie about that.
But you're so drunk that you can't tell which people are the police, which people are the doctors, and which people are firefighters. That's just not a good look, right? We've all been super drunk where I've never blacked out drunk. I never drink that much, but we all know somebody that can get a little loose when they drink. But it's not a good look for you to be so drunk that you can't tell doctors from police and police from firefighters. Here's the medical evidence from the 3 doctors. It says, despite these conflicting reports, 24, 25, and 26, none of these doctors were called to testify. If the doctor saw you and supposedly somebody pulled bullet fragments out of your foot, somebody gave you surgery, somebody needs to drop it. Like if y'all are, absolutely drop a like if y'all are in here. Please get the likes up. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, this is my first stream, so I don't know if I'm interacting with the chat enough. But this is a lot of evidence that's not pointing to Tory. The doctors are not testifying. People are lying. No DNA on the gun. This seems like corruption to me, based on the evidence that's presented here. I'm not entirely sure what was presented in court. Of course, you can make evidence look one way by presenting one side of it. But based on what I'm seeing here, man, Tory Lanez got absolutely railroaded. Let's look at these doctor statements or these claims that are made. Let me drink some water real quick. All right, it says Dr. Anthony Lafredo described injury as a laceration from broken glass. There's no mention of gunshot wounds, fragments, or ballistic trauma. He also described Meg as pleasant with no acute distress. If you actually got shot in your foot, you're going to have some evidence of being shot. Like, how do you get, okay, let's give the situation the benefit of the doubt and say that she was shot at and only like it hit the ground, right? Where are the shell casings that were recovered from, like, and then you just get back in the car? None of this makes sense to me. That's the bottom line. None of this makes sense. Let's read Dr. Milton Little's assessment. He diagnosed her with bilateral gunshot wounds based on imaging. He removed 3 small fragments under general anesthesia and called wounds superficial, yet performed surgery. Claimed fragments were bagged and given to the police. One of the claims that they made said that they lost this evidence. I told you guys about me being a UPL in the military, and chain of custody is absolutely important. And it's imperative that that stuff is taken care of and handled with care. So how does somebody get these bullet fragments and they get mishandled and they can't even be brought to trial? Somebody knows what happened to them, or they just don't exist. I'm not saying that shots were not fired, right? We heard 5 of them. We heard Tory say, "Stop it, bitch." But where are the fragments that were pulled out of her foot, if that's the claim? Because she said that she stepped on glass repeatedly. And she also said that she was shot repeatedly. But where's the evidence of that? How come he wasn't charged with malicious wounding if there were fragments in your foot? Dr. Anna Howell described wounds as superficial and cleanly closed. Okay, so this is 12th, and 13th. X-rays showed no fractures, minimal residual shrapnel. So they said that there was residual shrapnel. These are conflicting. No gunshot wound here, but no evidence of that made it to court. And then this says there was shrapnel. Dr. Howard treated for cellulitis, an infection, discharged without mention of ballistic trauma. So it says that there was shrapnel there. I wonder what they mean by shrapnel. Like, how do they medically define shrapnel? Because they mentioned no ballistic trauma. So was she going back to saying that she stepped on glass at the point that she talked to the doctor? Okay, forensic red flags and medical doubt. It says, let's read this one first. Who was this by? I have evaluated the following imaging, which shows X-ray of bilateral, I don't know what that word is. Bilateral feet demonstrates no acute fractures. There is no radiopaque foreign bodies concerning bullet fragments present in both the left and right hind foot. So they're saying that there's no evidence of bullet fragments from what I'm understanding right here. Then somebody else says 3 bullet fragments were saved, packaged according to standard protocols, and passed off to appropriate authorities. Multiplanar fluoroscopy was then obtained. The bilateral feet demonstrating successful removal of the bullet fragments. There were tiny fragments of retained missile that were noted, however deemed too small to attempt retrieval. Whose statements are these? They don't specify that. I don't like that at all. So one doctor claims broken glass, another says gunshot wound, and one says cellulitis. We know that doctors describe things differently, right? So what one doctor says is broken glass at the time that she said it was broken glass. Why did 3 different doctors look at her? Two doctors looked at her the same day on the 12th, right? Then she went back for a follow-up, and this lady said no shrapnel. But of course she's going to say it's no bullet fragments if Milton Little removed them the day prior. And she takes a shower or whatever the case may be, that stuff is going to be gone. The medical findings. Radiology report, no radiopaque foreign bodies, no bullet fragments, clearly visible on x-ray. That was this exhibit. Estimated blood loss, only 5 milliliters, far too low for gunshot wounds to both feet. How did she get shot in both feet? How do you shoot? I don't know. Is she saying like the bullet hit her in the back of her left foot and went to the right? Wound closure. Wounds were closed immediately, uncommon for gunshot injuries due to infection risk. No bone. If somebody is a cop or MP down in there, let me know. Let me know about this claim. Wounds were closed immediately is uncommon for gunshot injuries due to infection risk. Bullet fragments removed by Dr. Little but never preserved. Detectives admitted in court that fragments were lost. Somebody has to pay the price for that. Mishandling of evidence, if it existed. Conflicting diagnosis, we already went over those. Much of this evidence was never presented at trial. Tory Lanez's original trial counsel joined the case late, limiting the defense's ability to investigate these medical inconsistencies. How do you let somebody go to trial, convict them of 10 years, knowing that they're misrepresented or underrepresented? knowing that all the evidence wasn't able to be presented in a timely fashion for the people to go over it. At preliminary hearings, detectives stated bullet fragments were missing. Prosecutors later claimed LAPD had them, an inconsistency suggesting evidence mismanagement or miscommunication. Prosecutors claimed that LAPD had the bullet fragments. Prosecutors claim that LAPD still has the bullet fragments allegedly removed from Megan's foot. Yet, during a preliminary hearing, Detective Ryan Stogner stated that the fragments were missing. If LAPD had the fragments, why did the lead investigator testify in this manner? The chain of custody comes into question with such a clear error. This casts doubt on the integrity and completeness of the evidence. It absolutely does. It absolutely does. Not being able to present that evidence when that evidence is critical. If there are bullet fragments in her foot, that's critical to saying that he shot her, which was one of the claims. Now, he wasn't convicted on that, right? But that is one of the claims. So to establish the fact that he had the gun, he did shoot, she was shot, you actually have to have some sort of evidence, some sort of entry-exit wound. How do you get shot in both your feet and it only grazed you? There's no, it looks like there's like a flesh wound here. But if you got shot in both of your feet, how do you only have a graze there and not an entry and exit? Now, the bullet fragments, which were allegedly removed from Meg's ankle, they can't be located, correct? And the person says correct. And you indicated that you reviewed the medical reports from Cedars, or at least some of them. Yes. Did you read the report that called the findings superficial injuries? Okay, nothing further. What does superficial injuries mean, though? Does that mean that she was just grazed? Does that mean that, you know, she was hit and it wasn't a major thing? Like she wasn't going to have a lot of blood loss. She wasn't going to die. What does superficial actually mean? On August 17th, she went to the club with an ace bandage on her left foot, despite claiming she had been shot in both feet. Okay, so if she'd been shot in both feet, she said she was grazed though, or the doctor said she was grazed, or that's the claim that she was grazed. We saw the major or the stitches here, but what's going on with that other foot? Was there a lot of pain afterwards? She said she couldn't walk for a while. I couldn't feel the left side of my foot. Did you have nerve damage? Yes, I still have nerve damage. And what do you mean by that? I can't really feel the left side of my foot. So Exhibit 33 says, and based on your evidence, based on your experience, did you see anything that there was any nerve damage or any of those fragments penetrate or touch the nerve or anything of that? Did you see anything like that? They say we did not identify any nerve involvement on the left side. Okay, did you see any nerve damage on the right foot? Because she said she was shot in both. This is what I'm talking about, the stuff that I don't like, because we don't see the completeness of, she says that she had nerve damage in the left foot, but did they ask the doctor about both feet? I don't see that here. That's something I don't like. You got to get a full and complete account of everything that's going on. Also, just because the doctor said that it's not present, right, that you don't have nerve damage, doesn't necessarily mean that you don't, right? We know that we know that doctors can sometimes get the story wrong. Just because they say it's one thing, they can misdiagnose you. They could miss some of what you're claiming. Just because they said it's not nerve damage or they didn't see nerve damage doesn't mean that it's not present. So that's just my opinion. Once again, I still think at this point, based on this one-sided evidence that's being presented here on Tory's behalf, it looks like he's innocent to me, but we can't take the doctor saying that there's nerve damage at face value. It says this is body cam footage after the arrest showing that Tory cared.
Address that the incident occurred, the shooting happened?
Nah, I don't know the address, bro. I was just trying to help my girlfriend. 1 second, bro.
Stay right here for me, bro.
Let go.
Hey, we got an ambulance coming for her, okay? Hey, bro, step up right here. We got an ambulance coming for her, all right?
Just a quick question.
It's gonna be good.
Do you have any injuries on you?
No, I don't.
Do you need an R?
I got come for your friend now, okay?
Tory, they said he's pretty calm. He's checking on her, asking how things are going with her. It doesn't seem like somebody that just shot you out of anger and told you dance, bitch. It doesn't seem like somebody just told you dance, bitch, and shot you and attempted to shoot at you 5 times and hit you in both your feet. He said he's checking on his girlfriend. Whatever the relationship was between them, he still does keep concerned. Now, that could be partly because they just got out of a pool party. They're drunk. It's 4:30 in the morning. It was 4:22 when those shots went off in the video up there. He could absolutely be playing for the cameras. Sounds like a Jussie Smollett situation. It does sound like a Jussie Smollett situation where we're claiming one thing happened, but something completely different happened. But everybody in this situation was drunk, and they're leaving the party. Tensions are high because he's blowing her back out. She's finding out that he's also blowing her friends back out. It could be the case, putting on my conspiracy theory hat. It could be the case she just wanted to railroad him because she didn't like what was going on. She didn't want to be made a fool of.
Do you want to talk about what happened tonight? Your girl to safety?
He's just trying to get his girl to safety. So whatever the relationship was between them, it sounds like, Meg and Tory were spending a lot of time together. I remember that during the pandemic, they were spending a lot of time together. People thought that they were dating. She said that they didn't have a relationship. Found out during the trial that they actually were at least having sex. So it seems like the situation or their relationship was more than she ever made it out to be. And he seems to have been concerned about her out on the road. When they got to the police station, they had him in the interrogation room taking a statement. Now, the misinterpreted apology. This is a phone call. It said, we'll just read it. Many have pointed to Tory Lanez's jail call as an admission of guilt in the shooting, but this is a misrepresentation. Tory has publicly clarified that his apology was never about a shooting, but about the drama caused by sleeping with 2 close friends that night. 2 close friends and getting caught. He acknowledged that his actions created a volatile situation, but firmly stated, "I would never do anything like this." They have to put up what the actual call was. They have to let people hear what it is that he said. I do remember him saying something about, "I'm sorry, tell Meg I'm sorry," or something like that. And out of context, without people knowing the backstory, the relationship between them, the fact that he's saying that was his girlfriend, without people having all of that context, it could look it could look like something crazy, right? So Tory is still not doing himself any favors not coming out and saying, "Hey, this is what the situation was. This is what it wasn't. This is the person that did it." Okay, he acknowledges, we read that part. Prosecutorial misconduct concerns. Prosecutors intended to use Tory's rap lyrics, tattoos, and uncharged prior incidents to prejudice the jury. Mentioning Tory Lanez's right to not testify potentially violated his constitutional protections. I got to see in the context that they said this, that he has the right to remain silent, or he can invoke his Fifth Amendment right and not testify. Tory Lanez's choice to testify or not is a protected constitutional right. Okay. The fact that a defendant does not testify on his own behalf should not be fodder for the courts nor an interpretation of guilt. If Kelsey is allowed to get up there and plead the Fifth and lie and do all of this stuff, then why are people not pointing the finger at her, and they're pointing the finger at Tory, saying indefinitely that he did this? Without DNA evidence, without witness testimony saying that he's the shooter, there's nothing here, at least in the excerpts that they pulled out of the transcript, pulled out of the trial, the videos that they pulled, that are pointing to Tory doing this. The end of this website says, "Justice requires clarity, fairness, and facts, not assumptions." And based on the facts that they presented here, it wasn't Tory. He didn't do it. That's what I'm going to say until they present me with some other evidence that points at him. And definitely, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to say that Tory didn't do it. Hopefully he lives long enough to get a chance to be exonerated or get out of jail or his current situation change. But his team is claiming, the people that are representing him in the public, his PR team, they're saying that all of this stuff, as far as the stabbing, happened because Meg's team knew that this was coming out. Some of this was sent to her team, Kelsey's team. They were asked to make a statement, and then Tory gets stabbed. I would hope that that's not the case. I would hope that evidence doesn't come back that she tried to get him killed before he had a chance to appeal and get back into trial and argue the facts that are being presented here. Because based on this evidence, he didn't do it. He's being railroaded. And I'd like to see what the counter arguments are, so we could get a full and complete look at the entire context. That's been my first live stream. I appreciate you guys. If you like the video, subscribe to me back here for the next conversation. And if you have thoughts, let the world know. This is the place for discourse. I will catch you guys next time. Drop any further thoughts down in the comment section and I'll respond to them. Peace.